Hello, എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. Welcome to Rollin with Ronnie. I noticed Dan Pearson for the first time when I listened to the albums Caught Up in Vibes, and I've been a fan ever since. Dan comes from a family of musicians, so music has always been an integral part of growing up. He started experimenting with music production back in 10th grade, and the first Malayalam track that he produced was Aadaraanjali back in 2018. Dan and GWS teamed up with Indo-Canadian rap duo Cartel Madras for the single Stay Up All Night, and it has garnered a lot of attention. Dan is one of the busiest producers in the Kerala hip hop scene, and it's evident why. It was an absolute pleasure talking to him, and I hope you enjoy the show as much as I did. Hey, what's up, guys? So, we have Danny Boy on the show today. Hey, man, thanks a lot for coming in, man.
What's up, bro? Thanks for having me on the show, bro. Thanks a
No,
lot.
bro. I actually got into listening to Malayalam hip hop because of Glenn and you, with Caught Up in Vibes. So, so I mean,
Yeah,
huge thanks to you guys for getting me into this, and that's how I kind of branched out. And പിന്നെയാണ് ബാക്കിയുള്ളവരുടെയൊക്കെ കേട്ട് തുടങ്ങിയത്. So,
that's awesome.
the first thing that that really amazed me was, or rather, I was not very sure if you were a Malayali. അതായിരുന്നു ആദ്യത്തെ doubt because of the name.
Yeah, that you'll pierce it, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that
I mean,
was
I'm not exactly Malayali, but I've been living in Kerala for like 7 years,
okay.
since first to seventh grade. I mean, I'm actually an Anglo-Indian,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how to explain it exactly, but yeah, I'm an Anglo. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so I mean, you were studying in Dubai, like, for a long time.
Yeah. So I was born in Dubai, and I lived there for around 5 to 6 years, I think. I
Mm-hmm.
did my LKG, UKG, and my preschool and all that there. So then for my first grade onwards, I moved to Kerala, Kochi. I was in
Mm-hmm.
Kochi, Fort
Okay.
Kochi. So I studied there for around 7 years, and then I moved over to Davangere. That's another district in Karnataka.
Mm-hmm.
And then studied there for 2 years, and then now I'm in Bangalore for around 5 years. So yeah, I've been around the place a bit. Yeah.
But do you understand like Malayalam properly?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I do speak up to an extent right now, since I don't have a lot of friends over here that will speak Malayalam, so I'm not very that great at it, but I do speak in Malayalam. Yeah.
Okay. So
Mm.
you are kind of well versed with, like, you can understand, you can like
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
from one place to another if you go to Kerala and
Yeah.
stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. So, dude, like the thing is, I was again, something that really fascinated me when I started listening to your music, especially, before the show, when I started researching you. I listened to your first tracks, like, Chinese Trap and Euphoria and all of that. and
Oh
and then,
no.
it's so evident, like 2017 when you started, and to where the quality of stuff that you're doing now, it's so evident how much you've grown, because there's a huge difference, man. I mean, with
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
where you were,
There is a
and
difference.
where you are right now, and now with your one of your latest tracks with Neeraj Madhav. So I mean, it's so evident the growth that is there. So as a producer, what would you say for anyone who's trying to come in, newly to start? How do they begin, and the progression, right? I mean, being patient and all of that. How does the whole thing
Yeah.
work out?
Yeah, so most of the time, even if it's my friends, they usually when they think of music production, it's really exciting at first. But then when you start working on it, seeing all these what do you say, music programming and how complicated the software is initially, most of them kind of drop out over
Hmm.
there. So the first battle is actually sticking with whatever you're doing and kind of researching, checking out videos, getting more comfortable with the program itself. So the program is the most intimidating thing, I think, because even
Mm-hmm.
when I started, initially I felt like it was really tough because of the program that I was using, and I kind of had to step back. I actually stopped doing it for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know how, I don't know why, I just got back to it after a year, and I slowly started getting like decent at it. That's when I started growing on it, started researching, checking videos out, doing that and this, and then kind of got used to the program. I mean, that would be the best way you kind of stick to it and start around, I feel.
And this was in like which year did you like properly think of, okay, I'm gonna, make tracks and, release them on SoundCloud, YouTube and stuff like that?
Must be around 2016 end, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started in 2015 or like when I was in my 10th grade.
Okay.
So yeah, so around 2016 and 2017, you can say I kind of started doing tracks and putting it out just randomly like on SoundCloud. I started.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, amazing, where it's gone from, doing it in 10th standard and, still doing it. And now you're
Yeah.
like one of the busiest producers in Kerala hip hop, that's what I've heard from a lot of
I
people.
guess
So
a few people say that, yeah.
yeah, but it's amazing, man. Really happy to see, that especially, not being a Malayali, which I'm finding out right now, not being a Malayali and, getting into, Malayalam hip hop and, meeting with people like Rax and GWS. Like when I spoke to Glenn, it really fascinated me that you guys have never really met, because the chemistry that you guys have, especially I was talking to him about the intro of the track, right? You guys just, talking about Travis Scott and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you, did they find you because of your SoundCloud, or how did this happen?
Okay, so initially it was actually through a group which was not even a Malayali group. It was just a random producer group that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember sending us. I mean, everybody randomly sends a snippet of what they're doing, like a preview or something like that.
Right.
So I just happened to share that on one group, and Arcado was there on that group. So he kind of hit me up, and then I got to know he was Malayali, and then he got to know that I was also from Kerala and stuff like that. So the demo that I had sent him, he actually liked it. So he sent it over to another group where Rax, Tirumali, Earth Grime, and all these guys were there. So they all really dig the preview I said, and that after a few months actually turned into a song called Aadaraanjali.
Right.
So that was like how I basically got into listening to Malayalam songs and all that stuff. Yeah, through Arcado mainly. Like shout out to Arcado. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had him last week on the show, and very, very interesting guy. He seems like an intellectual, to be honest. Very smart guy, and we were talking about a lot of random stuff, even Breaking Bad and Gus Mode and all of that. Okay. So yeah, so I mean, amazing, man. So again, you come from a family of people who have been doing music, right? I seen a lot of tracks where you and your dad, Martin Pearson, you guys vibing and doing stuff. Like what is that like when you have like if I were to go to my dad, for example, and we wouldn't relate to the same music, right? I mean, we are obviously two different generations. So how was it from your childhood itself? How was music influencing your life? And
I mean, growing up, music was always around since dad used to play in bands. Then music was always played through it. Even my mom used to play a lot of music, even whenever we used to go. My mom was more into, you can say, pop and Craig David and all that kind of stuff. So I got influences from the new school at that time, as well as the old school, that is the slow rock, blues, country music, and also listening to all this kind of obviously got me interested, since that's what I was hearing on a day-to-day basis. And then overall, my dad also used to play. I guess he used to play the keys. Then he plays the bass guitar. He plays the guitar and various other instruments. So I mean, that kind of got me interested into this as well.
Okay, and you have sisters also who are into singing and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, my elder sister is pretty active on the singing side of it. You might know her name's Anne Pearson.
Anne Pearson, yes.
Yeah. So she used to sing from a very young age in school and all that, choirs and all that stuff. So she was already on the right path with that singing scene. So yeah, that was fine.
And then you have Angie also, right?
Yeah, she does sing, but then she doesn't put out her music a lot. Like she doesn't upload it. She just keeps it to herself like that.
So within your family itself, you can actually create a band and start doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you had ideas. I mean, I have ideas of that in the future, maybe. Let's see.
That's amazing, man. Like, the Jackson family and all of that. You'll have the Pearson family and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what gets someone into something like, music production? Because as a kid, like even for me, like I played the keyboard quite a bit. I loved, people who could play the guitar. But you don't, at least in my childhood, like I'm probably maybe 8 or 10 years elder to you. In our
Mhm.
childhood, there was nothing like this where, you have your own system to kind of, start, doing
Mm.
something like this. Or the most I have done, to be honest, is, take two tracks and, stick them together for some dance, this thing that we had in
Mhm.
school or something. So, I don't
Okay.
even remember what the software is, but how do you get into something
It
like
must
music
be
production?
virtual DJ, right?
Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so how I got into it was exactly virtual. Like I think when I was maybe 12, 13 years old, my dad told me about this software called virtual DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing around with this with the software, mixing tracks, this, that, and all that. So this was later when I found out there's an option of looping on that software. That's when I found it like really interesting. Okay, I can loop stuff. I can create my own stuff from looping it from each track and blending it and all that stuff. So then after that, I kind of researched how music or how does electronic music gets made and all that stuff. So that's when I found out about FL Studio,
Mm-hmm.
Fruity Loops, in
Mm-hmm.
other words, and I downloaded the demo version in my 10th grade. And that's how I started progressing and learning and all that stuff on that. That's basically how I got into that.
Okay. And like who inspires you in terms of, producers that you listen to? Like you obviously have, like, let's say Glenn has a lot of inspiration that he, derives from someone like Travis Scott, right? So when it comes to producers, like who are your favorites, and what is it that you listen to when you're free and stuff like that?
Yeah, so right now, there are a handful of producers like Metro Booming, pretty famous. Then there's Murder Beats. Then there's this producer called TM88 as well. So these three, I keep them as my top three favorite producers right now because
Mm-hmm.
they kind of inspire the style of the music that I try to create. Yeah, so that's about it. Like, these three guys are like my inspirations right now.
Okay. And
Mm.
when, let's say, when you create tracks with, Malayalam hip hop artists and stuff like that, uh, is it really important for you to understand, what they're trying to say and their message that's coming out, and you make, your beats, or, is that the way you kind of, go through creating the whole track?
I mean, usually I just make the beat and I send it over to them, and then it's just they're free to do whatever they want to it. So, if you're talking about lyrics and all that stuff, I don't really try to put my nose into that because it's their
Okay.
freedom of doing. But if there's anything to be done, I'll obviously let them know, like this, that's all. I mean, other than that, it's like I do my side, you do your side. If there's anything, any feedback here and there you want to be changed, like we just exchange that, and that's about it. That's how most of the time we work. That is me and Glenn and a few other guys that we
Hmm.
work with.
So I mean,
Mm.
then is after, what happens after that? You have your mixing and mastering and all of that that happens once you send the beat, and then they, tell you that this is what they plan to do, or send you the recording,
Yeah.
and then what's the process after that?
Yeah, so after I send them the beat, if they like it, that is, they'll record whatever they want for it. Once that's done, we kind of send it for. So I mix the beat. After they send back the vocals, I kind of try and alter the beat to kind of fit with the vocals, like making pauses and adding elements or taking off elements in certain areas
Hmm.
and stuff like that, normal stuff. And then we send it to for vocal mixing to mix the vocal with the beat
Mm-hmm.
or mixing the beat with the vocal, whatever. So, and then that's about it. So after we have that, then it goes to maybe video production or
Hmm.
lyric video, and then it just gets uploaded like that.
Okay.
That's about it. Yeah.
So that's your usual process for
Yeah.
every track. It's not, because when I was talking to Arcado, what he was telling me is that it's like dynamic. It's like different for every track that he does. Like the process
Mhm.
is completely different.
Okay.
There's no fixed process. So I was of the impression that everyone has a process. This is what they follow, and go through that every
Yeah.
track, because I don't probably know a lot about this. So I was
Yeah.
of the impression that that's how it happens. But yours is mostly straightforward, right? You create the beats
Yeah.
and you send it, and then they come back with what they have,
Yeah.
and you start working on that.
Yeah. Most of the time, because I kind of work with people that I'm pretty comfortable with, like Glenn,
Mm-hmm.
Rax, and all these guys which I know. So it's like kind of a very constant and repetitive process. So, but when you start working with somebody else, somebody's new, then that changes a bit.
Hmm.
It's like it's a completely new person and their processes are different. Even our processes kind of have to change because of that. So yeah, that's how it works, kind of.
What's the most you have taken, from start to finish for a track? The most time that's.
Mm, okay, so I think it was for the flight track for
Neeraj
Neeraj
Madhav.
Madhav,
Yeah.
because there was quite a bit of changes, minor changes that had to be done pretty constantly. That might have taken maybe a month, like month of changes and small changes, that this and all that. So yeah, I think Neeraj Madhav's Fly was the longest I worked on till now. Although it was a simple track,
Mm-hmm.
it took the longest. Yeah.
So what was it like, working with someone like Neeraj? Like when it's something that's out of your out of what you're usually
Yeah,
used to doing, right?
definitely.
So what was that like?
Yeah, I mean that was a huge opportunity for me to kind of work with Neeraj Madhav. I mean, really grateful for the opportunity he gave me to work with the track, and a completely different thing to what I usually do, because I'm used to working with like my friends Glenn and all this,
Yeah.
and then having to jump to like a pretty big level for me was like amazing and a great opportunity for me, and I'll be always grateful towards Neeraj Madhav for
No,
like
man.
kind
I
of
mean,
helping
the
me.
the track was also really beautiful. Like I've listened to it today morning also, and I mean it has a good message also with everything that's going on
Yeah,
right now. It's
yeah,
definitely
pretty
something that,
relevant.
yeah,
Yeah.
relevant with how the world is going. So how has your life changed in terms of COVID, and what are the major things? Obviously, your college has life in
Mhm.
terms of your college has definitely changed quite a bit. But apart
Yeah.
from that, when it comes to music, uh, what differences, like, are you still do you have enough work as you used to, or you have more work than you used to right now?
Okay, I think since quarantine, I put out way more music than I put in the last 2 years, I think. So so in the span of maybe 9, 10 months, I put out more tracks than like 2 years. So then that's one big change, because I have more time to work on tracks, and I mean most of the time there's nothing much to do other than college. College gets over around 2:33. So say, from that till the night, I have nothing much to do. So I just work on music. That's about it. And then here and there, I just go play cricket and football and all that stuff. So most of the time, it's just working on music. So I have more time to work on music, and got a lot of tracks actually on the way, which are
Okay.
completed
Hmm.
with Glenn and Double J, the rapper, and yeah,
I
many
think
of them. Yeah,
yeah, Double J is also in Bangalore, right? I was
yeah,
speaking to
yeah,
him sometime, and I think you guys met recently or something. I'd seen like an Instagram
yeah,
story or something like that. So
yeah.
there's a video coming out or something, is it?
Yeah, yeah. There's a video coming out. There's not one, just I think there are two. Yeah, two videos coming out with them.
Okay, so you
So
are also
yeah,
in the videos.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
there in
nice,
them.
man. I mean, something that was difficult when I was doing a research was like if you I think you've seen the show, like you've seen a few
Yeah.
episodes of the show, right? So there's this part of the show where we talk about like Instagram and your pictures from Instagram and stuff like that.
Yes.
And there's not one picture that I could pick up and ask you something about, because it's mostly all promotional stuff, something about your tracks,
Yeah.
and you have a million pics that people have tagged you on, but I couldn't really find, apart from two or three pictures of I didn't even know what you look like, unless because you're not someone who's on the track, like we obviously
Yeah.
have, when you listen to people, you see the videos, you have like people like Glenn or KV or anyone, you see them, you kind of have this, you feel
Yeah.
like you already know them because you've been listening to their music for such a long time.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's so different when it comes to someone like a producer who's doing stuff in the back end.
Yeah, yeah, that's really true. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people haven't really seen my face until maybe last year when I posted the SSS
Yeah, with
the
tracks, yeah.
poster for that. Yeah, so till then nobody really knew how I kind of looked like. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, but it'll be nice to see you on a few tracks, and people
Yeah,
getting to know who is Dan Pearson, because like I said, when I started listening to your music, I thought this guy is not even Indian. That was the first thing that came in, because you don't really hear a name like Pearson usually,
yeah, yeah.
and then yeah, so you did have a name called Dan Tracks for a while. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'd seen
Yeah.
something like
So
that, and then you had Daniel Pearson, and then you changed it now to Dan
yeah.
Pearson, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So the Dan track, so I had that maybe for one song, that's it. And then I decided to kind of change it back to Daniel Pearson.
Okay.
But at the time, there was another artist called Daniel Pearson, so I could not claim my profile on Spotify and all those things. So then I think it was me and Rax who kind of decided to kind of change up the name and get a fresh name. So I think we decided with Dan Pearson, simple but effective. So yeah, we kind of that I don't know when it changed. It must be maybe a year and a half ago, I think, when I changed my name to Dan Pearson from Daniel Pearson. Yeah,
I think on Kalaman's page there was
there was an announcement post
announcement
that.
that
Yeah.
came out.
But
Yeah.
I changed it way before that.
Okay. Yeah,
Mm,
no, when me and Glenn were talking also, we were talking about these names and how people come up with it, and we were kind of laughing a lot about, how his GWS name, which has kind of nothing to do
oh
with rap
yeah.
and, stuff like that. But you kind of chose to go with your, kind of your real name, right? So,
Yeah, I mean to stay on the safe side, stay with your real name, I feel.
yeah, and
But there are a lot of people who kind of want to have something different and really which stands out and all that. I mean, that's also good, but I feel like I'm comfortable with my own name.
yeah. And I think when it comes to, tracks that you have done, one of the, you know, persons you've done a lot of tracks with, I think after Glenn is Rax, right? Like you have
Yeah.
so many tracks with him, and so how did you guys kind of build that bond, and how did that start off?
So again, going back to the story of Aadaraanjali. So after Aadaraanjali got released, Rax kind of hit me up and told me that we should collaborate and stuff. So that was pretty huge for me because like Rax was among the top five rappers that time. Like, and he is still right now like among the
Mm-hmm.
top five. So that was huge for me to collaborate with him. And so the first ever beat I've sent him, I think, was maybe 2 years back, and that was Keep Up.
Keep
So
up, yeah.
we had done that way back 2 years back,
And
but
released it later.
we
Okay.
released it, yeah, this year, Jan 1st.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's how we started collaborate. I started collaborating with Rax, kind of sending him beats, talking. Then we kind of started becoming close, like talking about music and starting to explore new music and genres and all that stuff. So like I kind of started collaborating with Rax a lot. Then he had his EP called Night Vision, and then I had the chance to produce a track on there with Vikadagavi and Rax on the track. So that was also pretty awesome. So like that, we started collaborating more, becoming close, and then kind of going on from there.
I think that was Parinamam 4X, right?
Parinamam 4X. Yeah,
The one
exactly.
that you did with him.
Mhm.
Yeah, but amazing, man. Seeing, the way these things come together is,
Yeah.
is kind of mind-boggling, because when I was speaking to Arcade also, he was talking about chaos theory and, how, these things, so coincidentally, happen, and everything just
Yeah.
falls in place, right? So it's actually beautiful to see, Malayalam hip hop growing the way it is. And I think in
Yeah.
this 1 year, and in some ways a lot of it is due to COVID, because of which people have started, they have more
Exactly. Yeah.
time to kind of listen to music, right?
Yeah. So
So,
true.
so I
Because
mean,
like
it's,
maybe one and a half, 2 years back, the rap scene was barely known to anybody. It was just like maybe 100 people listening to their each other's music, and since then it's really grown a lot. I mean, if you
yeah.
even if you've seen the viewership of each video that comes out for people, it's over 100K,
Hmm.
200K. Like that's the minimum standard for people nowadays. But if you go back 2 years and all, if you get 1,000 or 2,000 views for a video, like that was a great thing.
Yeah.
So the way it's changed over a year is crazy. I mean, it's good. I'm pretty happy for the scene at least.
Yeah. No, and for you to be a part of something, that's growing, and
Yeah, that's
it's,
all. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see the growth also. To see my friends like Rax, Glenn, and people from the Kalman kind of growing from like zero subscribers and getting people to see their this thing and kind of following them and having this crazy growth. I'm pretty happy to see that. Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing, man. And then after that, after all this, small Kerala scene, it's gone international now with people like Cartel Madras. So, bro, I mean that was
Yeah,
awesome, man. I mean, Stay Up All Night
yeah.
is such an awesome track, and
Thanks so much.
with the way what they have done as well. I mean, GWS is obviously fire all the time. To be honest with you, I mean
Yeah,
that's a guy who got me into this whole thing. So I really
exactly.
love that guy's music and what he does, and then to see someone like Cartel Madras, who I've never heard of, and because of you guys, you get to see people like that, creating music, Indians who have been in Canada for a long time, and then you have that Tamil, music also coming in a
Influence.
little bit.
Yeah.
So what was that experience? How did Snakes and Ladders and all of you guys come together to create something like this, which also means that they are our music here in Kerala is kind of being heard in other places also.
Yeah. So Stay Up All Night was just one of the random tracks me and Glenn just started working on. I just made like a random beat I made every day and I sent it to him. So he kind of really liked the vibe and then he just decided to do a hook on it. And with that itself, I think he decided that like it was maybe Cartel Madras's vibe and that they have been wanting to collab with him also ever since Kotiam Duke.
Hmm.
So we decided to kind of just pitch it to them, send it to them. Surprisingly, they liked it. Even we were kind of happy. And then maybe it took them a week, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they set back their part, and then we were like, "Oh, great! Wow, let's post it." And this was like last year, okay, way before the COVID scenes and all that.
Mm.
But then that kind of got tracked back. I think they got busy with their shows and all that stuff. So even we also forgot about the track. And then fast forward to the lockdown over here. I think Glenn kind of remembered it, and then we kind of told them about the track, and then that again got back on. Then we had to shoot a video and all that stuff. So that kind of got back this year, and things are going pretty decent now with the Stay Up All Night track.
It's on TV and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we played on VH1. I mean, that was pretty huge for us, really,
Yeah,
because I remember growing up, VH1 was the only channel that I used to watch to find new music, and
exactly.
when the internet wasn't really there. So yeah, my having our music played on VH1 was pretty huge for us.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. The way things have gone and the way
Yeah,
everything has grown, and I think in a very short period of time, right? I mean, if you look at the last 2 years itself, exponential growth. So amazing, and
yeah, yeah,
I,
that,
it's really nice to hear that they heard Kotem Duke and they were aware of our music here.
exactly. Yeah. I know having people from outside the country listening to our music on a really constant basis is really exciting because like we're slowly growing outside the country. It's not just we're not just stuck to even the state. We're not just stuck to Kerala. We kind of people in US are listening to our music. People in New Zealand are listening to our music. So that's a pretty big improvement from what we've been having so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of what you have coming up, I know you guys have Scott Uppenham, Thug Uppenham that's coming out with GWS and
Yeah,
KV
yeah,
and stuff like
GWS
that.
and KV. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
going to be crazy. I think I've heard almost all the tracks in there, and every track is a banger.
no, so you are were you the producer for that album?
uh, I might have one or two tracks on there, but I'm
Okay.
not. It's not like Scott and Vibes. So there
Okay.
are a couple other producers as well in there.
Yeah, and Scott
So
Up and
yeah.
Vibes, you were majorly the only producer, right, throughout the album?
Yeah, I think I produced six tracks, and the balance three were done by Bob.
Bob, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah. Bevan, right?
Yeah, Bevin.
Yeah. Nice, man. I mean, amazing, dude. I mean, to hear your story and how things have been going. And do you have anything else that's really interesting that you're looking forward to releasing in the near future?
Okay, so there's this one track called Cry, which I have with Double J the rapper,
Mm-hmm.
and which happens to be the first track that I am gonna be singing in as a single, and I'm
Oh,
gonna be putting out. So that would hopefully come out soon, maybe the end of this month or maybe next month, first or second week, hopefully. So it's called Cry, and hopefully we get to release it. So that's gonna be one of the what do you say, the bigger releases that I have coming soon. So yeah, hopefully that gets done soon.
Awesome. So, where do you see? It's probably not the best question to ask, but where do you see yourself? Taking music. Like, do you see this as something that you want to do as a full time career, or you're planning to pick up something else and do that and have this on the side?
Okay, so right now, I mean, I want to do it full time, but I know that it wouldn't be possible if I just do music. I wouldn't be able to support myself like financially and stuff like that. So, hopefully, I start working soon, and then I would be able to support my music thing. But that'll have to be decided later based on like what do you say, situation around me. But I do want to do this kind of full time in the near
Hmm.
future. So I'm going to try my best to kind of stick to it and hopefully continue doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you will definitely continue doing it no matter what the circumstance. So, I mean, that's really nice. How many years of college do you have left now?
Right now, I'm in a final year of BBA.
Hmm.
So got another half semester to go. So after this, now I'll have to see what I can do with it.
And do you guys like have like placements and stuff like that? And
Yeah, yeah. The college has placements, but I might have to kind of. I think I'm not registered for it yet, so so I might have to look outside.
everything's remote right now, huh, with your college and stuff, right? It's all online classes, or do you go to college?
Uh, so I think they started offline classes a few days back, and people are slowly getting back, I guess. Because I think Reva University is one of the only universities to have like to start colleges and follow all the regulations and blah blah blah. So so I mean we'll have to get back to college soon, I guess. Maybe by January, February, I think we'll start offline. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, but I mean, here, bro, I mean, just getting out nowadays, what you see is life is pretty much come back to normal, right? I
I
mean, the
know
way
it's
things are.
exactly. I know. Even if you go to see during like when there was when the cases were peaking and all that, people were going out like normal, no mask, nothing. Nobody even cares.
I heard a friend of mine who works with me. He was telling me that he had gone to Phoenix in Whitefield. He had gone to Phoenix Mall, and he was telling me that he couldn't get a place to park. Can you imagine? And this is like three
Oh
months
my
back, man, when the cases were like
God, when it's
at the
peaking,
peak.
right?
So
God.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, everybody's doing it. Everybody's acting like it's normal.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I mean, what do you do? I mean, in terms of mental health and all of that, people have
True.
really had a tough time, especially people who work, I think. The
Yeah.
pressure that's there, and you're kind of
Hmm.
the entire day you're sitting in front of your laptop, and people
Yeah.
expect you to be working throughout because you're at home. You have to manage things at home. So, yeah, man, it's crazy, and people obviously want a way to kind of relax and get out of it. And
Yeah.
one thing that's definitely happened is people listening to more music, so which is
Yeah.
obviously a
So
good
that's a
thing.
plus.
That's a plus
Yeah.
for you guys. But like, another thing that I even spoke to Arcado was about the split between how it works for like a producer and the guy who makes the track, right? I mean, in terms of singing the track or composing the track. So we were talking about how do you split, like is it like 70/30, is it like a one time payment? And I just want to know your view on how that should be, or what is the ideal thing that you would want when you do something like this.
Okay, so in terms of split, I really feel like it should be a 50-50 because I think there's equal amount of work from the producer side, if not more work from the producer
Yeah.
side, because nowadays if you live and listen to the mainstream music, it's the beat that gets people going,
Yep.
and the vocal aspect comes later, like from my point. Um, but I think what is being done now is I think 40-60 is the right way of doing things. I guess that's what is fair, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I go by 40-60. I think it should be 40-60. If not 50-50. I mean, yeah.
But you don't look at it in terms of like getting a one time payment and that's it, because you never know how the track performs. If it performs like crazy,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
let's take the example of Neeraj Madhav, okay, just for the sake of it. Like when you get a
Hmm.
track that's making like as in 32 million views just on YouTube, And when you look at the breakdown of a track like that, you kind of imagine, the amount of work that goes into it, the sleepless nights, and it's back-breaking work, man. I mean, people
Yeah.
should realize, how much effort goes into it. And the whole reason for me, also to talk to people like you, to Arcado and other producers, maybe Kalasha and all these guys, right? I think it's really important for people to know you guys, because a big factor, like you said, it's 50-50 or even more, that goes into making a track sound as amazing at it as it is, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I mean, you guys deserve a lot of credit, man. And thank you so much for doing what you do, because now we have a whole new genre in Malayalam hip hop that's there, and it's just
Yeah.
amazing to listen to all the new artists that's coming out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the new artists. I think every day there's at least 10 new artists popping out, new rappers, new singers. So overall, pretty good growth in the scene. People at least getting to know about it, starting to realize what hip hop is, and pretty good. Pretty happy for it. Yeah.
Something weird that's happened with me after I started the show is I have a lot of people sending me tracks and asking me for my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to know that people care about your opinion, obviously. But I mean, I'm
Yeah.
obviously not an expert like you guys, but it's nice to listen to different people. Like recently there was this guy called AJ or someone from Pallikodam Records. Okay, so they're also
Mhm.
kind of new in the scene, and they do a lot of they spit fire, man. I mean, I've listened to them, and
I
uh,
might have heard.
you might have
Yeah,
heard
I
that
might have
recently,
heard.
because you
Yeah.
had a lot of people sharing
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that guy's track. And it's really nice to see people from small towns and villages throughout Kerala coming together, and that culture. And it's nice to see that most of you, I know the diss track thing and all that exists, but most of all of you are like, it's like that one love thing where everyone's together supporting each other. You have one
Yeah.
artist supporting another artist tracks, and it's really nice to see that. Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty good, pretty nice actually to see all this. And I did see that rap actually. I had a couple of people send it to me as well. So like the new artists who come up nowadays are actually not bad at all. Like they are really good. They're pretty ahead of their time actually, if you can see, because there are these 15, 16-year-old rappers nowadays who are doing like crazy. They write lyrics equal to people who really like Vikadakavi and stuff like that. So I can just imagine where they'll be in another 4 5 years.
and with the way the scene's growing, it's definitely going
Yeah.
to go mainstream, because now you have people recognizing Malayalam hip hop, and even in movies you have people having tracks coming in, and
Yeah.
which is good. I mean, the whole thing about this, the only thing, the difficult part is when you start something new. It takes, there are those few guys who have to take the brunt of it. They still have to work a full-time job to support what they do in terms of music. Like, to take the example of Nomadic Voice, right? He's a nurse, and he works full-time and still tries to put out tracks every other
Mm.
week or every two
Yeah.
weeks, which is, I mean, the commitment
Which is
is
tough. Yeah,
it's
really
tough,
tough.
man. Because, like, being a guy who works full time, I can definitely tell you that it eats up a lot of your mental space that you have in your head, right?
True,
and
actually. I
and
mean, you need to really create space to kind of work for music, work towards music and create songs and all that, which is pretty tough when you're working and when you need time for yourself, I think, right? After you finish working
yeah,
and then you. So yeah, that's also a challenge right now, no? But still people are doing it.
people are doing it, which is and that too with not a lot of financial reward coming in, which means
Exactly.
that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
entirely up to passion and just being able to release
Yeah.
their music and have people relate to what they
Yeah, I
have
mean,
to say.
if you're a newcomer and then if you're going to look at only the rewards, or if you're just going to look at the rewards, there's no use of starting it, because if you're going to only do it for that, like unless you're going to be viral and all that stuff, there's no point in looking at the rewards and then doing music. So that becomes basically work, 9 to 5 work, right? So yeah, so passion is what drives everybody. Hopefully, it drives everybody right now.
Hmm.
At least people who I know, that's what it is. So we do it for the love of music and the love of rap and all that stuff. So yeah.
When you started releasing tracks on YouTube or on SoundCloud, how many listens would you get initially in the first few months or in the first few years of doing this?
I think the max I maybe hit was like 100 streams or something like that on the but like usually it was 15, 20 for like 1 or 2, 3 years. And even the following, it was like I think for a year or two I had like 200 followers, I think. So I mean, yeah. So since the growth and all that stuff, it's going pretty decent. Like the viewership has increased, as I said, which is a good thing.
Do you also think that the quantity really matters so that you improve? Like I don't know who told me this. I think it was KV was telling me that only a very small portion of what he does comes out. A lot of it is hundreds of tracks, or let's say 100 maybe an exaggeration, but a lot of the tracks are just on the side. It's just there. You never know if you'll ever release it or not. So do you also believe
Yeah.
that it's quantity over and over again doing it that gets you to this level of expertise?
Yeah, so every time you make a beat or you make a song, it's never really the greatest output you have. So even if we talk about projects, I have over 700 projects in my PC.
What?
Yeah, so
Shit.
700 unique projects which never really came out. So it's always about like in a day, if you make 10 beats, maybe one of them might sound good and that may end up coming out. So it's about going through the first 9 beats to reach the 10th beat. Kind of you try and improve this, that, and all. Because every beat you make wouldn't be like how it comes out and how it sounds like that. So yeah, so even if we talk about artists and producers and stuff like that, we have a lot of tracks which are kind of still what you say stacked up, which we wouldn't put out. I don't know whether we would or would not put out. So sometimes tracks like this gets pulled out from the shelf, and then we try and work on it, and if it doesn't work out, we just put it back. And stuff like that. So yeah, that is a fact. Yeah, people have a lot of tracks stacked up, and only a few tracks just go out. Whatever hand-picked tracks just get out. Yeah.
And when being a person who understands music really well, do you when you listen to the vocals of a track, do you really feel like, okay, there's a very good chance that this is something that could become a hit? In terms of I'm not saying in terms of maybe views, but it's a banger. Like you recognize that before you start your whole process?
Yeah, so most of the time it starts from the beat itself. Like I wouldn't send a beat if I don't feel it's good enough. Like for example, taking Glenn, I work with him the most, so I
Yeah.
could give that example. So if I make 5 beats a day, maybe four are not even. I don't feel like it would really suit his vibe, and I wouldn't feel like it. So if there was one beat that I make and I feel like okay, this is the right one to give him, that's when I send it to him, and then I feel like okay, it could be his vibe.
Hmm.
So, I mean, most of the time he agrees to do it and then he likes it, and that's how we kind of start working on a pretty regular basis. I mean, I remember when we used to work on 2, 3 tracks a day when he had his holidays and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it's still mind-boggling to me the fact that you guys have never really met, and because it when I listened to the intro of that Caught Up in Vibes in the album, it seemed like you guys are guys who have known each other for ages from childhood, and you guys have just been that's it's amazing. And basically this with COVID everything has become remote, but you guys have been working like this from the start. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, since the start, the only people I've met is Arcado, Double J, and Azuran from State Academics. So these are the only guys I've really met in real life. Other than that, all whatever work we've been doing is through WhatsApp, Instagram, all this stuff. Just communicating back and forth through Zoom calls, having what do you say, what do you call that, screen sharing and stuff like that. So that's how we usually work on a regular. So since the beginning. So yeah.
So you guys already adapted to it way before it even happened. So which is yeah, which is crazy. So just for the benefit of people who are getting into music production, I just wanted to understand from you what is your like daily process. Do you like spend a lot of time? I know it's passion and you love it, so you just do it. It's like going out to play cricket for you, probably, listening, I mean, doing this, right? But what is the amount of, work that goes in on a regular basis? Like, what is your daily schedule, let's say, after college? How does it look like when it comes to music?
So right now, I don't really try to follow any schedule like that. It's always based on my mood. If I feel like making a beat, or if I get an idea from something or something like that, I really just hop onto or just turn on the PC, start making music, and I mean that's about the process. There's nothing like a timetable that I have to like. For example, 4 to 6, I need to make beats or stuff like. I mean, it's not reached that level yet, but I mean, right now it's just a very free flowing kind of process that I have for making beats and stuff like that. Nothing really strategic with it.
So it's still very much a hobby than, looking at it from
Yeah,
a
yeah.
business
It's just the
standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. So all I have is, I mean, if you're talking about list, I just create lists for myself that I have to complete, like deadlines, and when I have to finish it. But I don't take it as like, okay, it's work and I need to do it like that. Just take it, okay, I need to complete this by this date. It's like a project. So I just do it off and I try and complete whatever pending stuff I have. That's about it, nothing much.
Yeah, because it's different when you are, doing it for your own self, and just, that's one side of it. But when you work with other artists, you obviously have deadlines and all of that
Yeah.
comes in. So I mean, you, like you said, you obviously have to go by that and make sure that you complete, these tracks in a stipulated
Yeah.
time and stuff like that. So do you like work on multiple tracks on the same day, or it's like if you're into one track, you're into one track till it's done?
I mean, most of the time I work on multiple tracks a day, but there are few days, for example, the Neeraj Madhav track, Fly, like that was one track I had to constantly just work on without really turning my head anywhere, no lunch, no dinner, nothing, just
Okay.
constantly, constantly working on the track. So that was one of them, but usually I work on a couple tracks a day. So that's how the usual process goes on. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it's amazing to know that you have a lot of newer tracks coming out, and we definitely, people who love being fans of this genre of music, we're really looking forward to listening to more of your music. And thank you so much, bro, for coming on the show and
Thanks so much
spending your
for
time
having
here.
me.
I know you're extremely busy, but I mean, thanks a lot, man, for doing this.
Thanks a lot, bro, for having me on the show. I was kind of excited to come on. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. I mean, I'm sure, when your new album's coming out, I was telling, Glenn and KV also about this, that, we should have like all of us sit together and, do something, which would be really amazing.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll do that. Yeah.
We'll definitely do that. Cool, bro. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot, man. Have a nice one. Peace.